That is only the difference. The first command, like try show databases. Please note down the first command that we are practicing is show databases. As the name indicates, it will display the databases which are created in Hive. Here the databases means schemas, but they will call it a database. So it's just like a schema um, in Sybase or Oracle context. Let's go and create a database. Create database class. Then try show databases. Then you could see the class there. Next one is use class. The next command, where so far we tried show databases, create database, and use space database name, and then after that show tables. Um, Show tables is empty, okay, like because none of the tables exist in the database. Most of the syntaxes, okay, like it will follow the ANSI standards. High supports beyond the ANSI standards, but most of the commands would work. A very simple command, okay, like my first table, okay, ID integer. This is very similar to any any database, how you create a table using ANSI SQL. Okay, like so just create table name, and then you can give a column name and then column type. This is very simple way of creating a table in Hive. Here ID is the column name and int is the column type. Now you could give a try like show tables, just see that one whether the table exists or not. So the table is exist as my first table, right? So once the table got created, how to see the contents of the table definition? Okay, like we could say describe my first table. So describe will give you the description of each column name and column type. Okay, it will give you everything in list. That is the advantage of the describe. Describe will also work if you specify your database name as well. So database is class dot my first table. So both these commands would work. Describe space table name, and if you already use the use, for all the tables inside the database, you need not use the prefix database name. Otherwise, you need to use the database name dot and then table name. Suppose if you describe and then database name dot table name. That is a command about describe. Next one, the next command, which is only available in Hive and not in any other typical ANSI SQL based databases. Okay, the next one is I'm going to show you um, this one, like create table, table name, and then followed by the column names. This is very common thing used in all databases. Okay, like so here, nothing is special from the high perspective. But now we will try to create another table, create table, my second table, and here also, uh, let's say data, data or name. Let's take the name. Okay, like name as string. Um, one of the beauty of the Hive is that, as explained in the last class, it will break the relation between a data and a definition. So how they break this relation is that you can create a table by pointing to some location. So here, just give location, and then sorry, location, and then we need to give as slash. I'm not sure which one that we created. Maybe class. Let's go with the slash class. Um, uh, my second tab. Maybe, like I could say maybe class data and then my second tab. Okay. So here I'm defining a table pointing to a location in HDFS. If you don't specify anything, okay, like it will treat it as a HDFS. So this is the table which has the column name as string and location is class data my second tab. Okay. Of course, um, when you say like show tables, it will show you both the tables. Okay, and now what I would do is let's try to retrieve the data from this table. Okay, like so, um, since it is pointing to the location, okay, like um, if this location has any data, then that data would be displayed from this table. That is that much simple. So let me go ahead and see that whether this directory exists and it has any data. Probably it will not have any data at all here. Okay. So what I will do is, okay, like cd. I just entered some random names. Okay. So this table, I'm trying to copy this table into this HDFS location. Before that, before I even copy, let's try to query from this table. Select the star from uh, class my second table. Okay, because it just got an empty result because we created the table, but we never loaded any data into this table. That is the reason the result is empty here. Now what we do is, in another tab, I created a file called second tab entries, and it has I listed on some of the names like John, Mary, Emily, like that. And I'm trying to save this file into the location where the second table is being pointing to. Okay, now I moved the file there. Let's try the same query right now and see. I got all the entries. That is how you load the data into the Hive. So I got that like John, Mary, and Emily because the second table has only one column as a name. Okay, like and then this is the location. So if you have more data, okay, like uh, okay. So I created another file and I'm trying to put the same file in the directory. What will you see that one? So that like the table, whenever you're querying the table, that will be directly reflected there. So I'm trying to put another file which has some more entries, some more entry names. So and I will write the same query. Now I could see that the data from the first file and the data from the second file. So how many files are there in that directory? So all the files I will be considered while querying the result. So that is one beauty of the Hive. And the second, we are going to do another one. Um, how can I show that? Okay. Um, suppose I have all the students' details like student ID followed by a student name. Okay, like let's say Jock is a name, and then probably their what do you call ID, name, and then city. Okay, like let's target only for these ones. So I have three entries here, tab data. So what I will do is I'm going to create a new directory in HDFS called class data and then tab data. Okay. I'm going to create a directory called class data and tab data and then copy the tab data into this directory. Now we do have a file here in the class data.tab data. So now we have loaded the data in front before creating any table. And this data we do have three columns high level. One is called like ID, name, and city. So what we'll do is we do have this data in the HDFS. So next, um, define a high table, okay, like pointing to this location. Create table, okay, like I'm going to define my third tab only, okay. ID, it is an integer. Name, it is a string. I hope you are able to see my screen at the end, okay, like next one is city, string, okay, like so now we have given all the three columns. Maybe it makes sense if it is at the top. uh, Let me do that one. I don't think there is a. Let me try the clear is working. No, there is a there is a request. Okay, like to implement clear and high prompt, but it looked like they have not been implemented. Okay, let's go to. I'm starting the prompt again so that like you could see that very clearly. Create table my third tab string city string. Okay, so all the three columns. The next one is uh, remember how this data has been cat my tab data. What is it? Oh, tab data is separated by comma. Is it not? Okay. So ID int name string city string. Then next one is row format delimited. Uh, I mean next line typically people would do that so that like it will be easy. Row format fields terminated by comma, and then I have a location here, class data tab data. So here I'm telling Hive how to parse the entries in a file. Row format, oh sorry, I missed one. Row format delimited, and then
Professor, what is
filter.
this class slash data slash tab data? The location.
Sorry sir, one more time.
Sorry, sir. Said location is class slash data slash tab data.
That is a HDFS location. This is where the
SDFS location. It is in the class directory, subdirectory, etc. That is.
this is where like I'm showing that only. Where is
Okay.
this location? Because in this location we do have a data, so I just inserted some data in this location or in this folder of
In this
HDFS.
folder, we have kept the text files. Okay, fine.
In this folder, okay, I just kept that file.
Okay.
Okay. uh, uh, this is fields terminated. There is a small typo here. Fields terminated by, and then I'm giving the location. This time what I'm still didn't like it. uh, Whenever you are giving the HDFS locations, okay, like make sure that you give the complete path starting from root. That means starting from a table, and I created my third table, and I have given my column specifications, ID, names, and city. I just mentioned that row format delimited and fields terminated by the comma. So here I'm telling Hive each field or column is separated by the comma. Okay. Now we just created the table now, but data is there before table creation. Now try to access. Select uh, city, name, ID from my data. Let's see what will happen. Okay, I was able to parse that. So like that. So my definition is different. My data is different. Okay. Now I will show you another beauty here. Okay. Like so, here I created a table with three columns with this rule by saying that like each field is terminated by the comma and then by location. It's not only just like that any column. So if I want to access probably only name. So select the name from my chart tab. So I will get only the names. Another advantage. I'm going to tell you another one. Another interesting things of Hive. Let's create a fourth table. Um, I have only one column here. My fourth tab. Therefore, you are okay. Delimited, or I don't want to define any of the delimiter, but I will give the same location. So here I created a fourth table, but pointing to the same location. And here, when I'm defining my fourth table, I've given only the one column as just like a content. So when I say like select the star from this table or select content from my fourth tab, I got the complete entry here, like thousand comma jack comma Delhi, because the entire row it will be treated as only one column. That is nothing but content. Because I did not tell Hive how to interpret different columns in the data. So Hive default will assume that entire thing is one column. So unless you specify how you want to read the column, Hive would not be knowing that. This is the same data, but depending on your definition, it will give you the results. Salient features of Hive. So which would make a lot of advantages when compared to traditional SQL databases. Sometimes what would happen is, okay, like if you end up having data in different formats like XML, like JSON, um, what do you call it, like any other like Avro. So these formats, suppose the data is in JSON in the traditional databases. Okay, like if your input source is JSON, if you want to uh, query the JSON data, what the people would do is they will get the JSON data, they will read the JSON file, and they will transform it, and then they will load the transformed data in terms of columns and then load into SQL databases. That's what people would do in the traditional world. But especially in the Hive and Hadoop side, whenever there is a JSON file, if you end up to read the JSON file, you load the JSON file directly. Don't transform anything. You define your Hive table such a way that, okay, like you could use SQL syntax to retrieve the internal elements of the JSON. So that is the beauty. You are not transforming any data. You are just storing all the raw data, either it will be XML or JSON or any other particular format. You keep your original files like that only, but you define your Hive table such a way that you could able to extract the internal elements from the JSON very easily, like this. Like fields terminated by, I just given this is one of the examples exactly, but you could also uh, try it for different combinations. Both the tables are pointing to the same location, but the definitions are different. So since the definition are different, okay, like so you could it will also give the results as per the definitions. So here, for example, using my fourth data, I cannot get the just names because the Hive does not know that one how to interpret the different columns here. But
Yes, sir.
whereas my third tab definition, okay, will know that how to interpret each individual column. Yes, sir.
A small doubt.
Yeah.
You just mentioned the location, class data, tab data, but you
Correct.
didn't attach the file because in the location you
Yes.
may have multiple
No, no.
files.
That's not right. Our first example, I shown you that there are two files in the
Ah,
directory.
yes,
So
yes.
the Hive would be able to consider both the files. It's not file based. It's just directory. Under the directory, any number of files are there. Hive would consider that that is a part of the data.
But you want only the data from one specific file, then how do you?
No, no, no. Why I want to do only one file specific? I mean, in the typical scenarios, okay, like it's not about file based. Okay, like right. Okay, like I mean, it's a location. It's just like a location. In the location, how many number of files are there? Okay, like it will be considered as part
So
of
it
the
will
data.
access all the files.
It will access all the files. Correct. Okay, let's do one more thing. Okay, like copy this tab data. Okay, like to tab data more dot text. Okay, like so. I just copied the.
Sir,
Uh,
this will work out when you have multiple subsets of the same file. That's fine. Let us suppose you have multiple database files in a different format.
yeah, if the files are in different format, you cannot define a one table. Okay, like so.
That's what. So in such case, how does you recognize that?
Format is different. Format is different. Data elements is different. If the files are in different format, like one file is in plain text file, another file is in JSON, another file is in XML, I cannot define high table by considering all these formats. But instead, if I define a high table on the text file, so all the text files will be considered, irrespective of how many number of columns are exist in the file. I will show you another example. Maybe that will be much more clear. So here I added one more file to the same location.
So
Okay,
that
like
means
now,
you should keep the files related to one specific task in one folder when you are giving the location. Because
correct.
my concern is, suppose I have some data related to 3, 4 tasks in one directory, then it is difficult in such case.
Then why we want to have only one table, sir?
No, no, not that, sir. Suppose we have a database with 4 tables, let us suppose. It is normalized and I have 4 tables related to
Correct.
a database. And
Mm-hmm.
I want to read only the data related to one specific table. Let us suppose my requirement is like that in such case.
Okay.
Suppose I have 2 master files and one relationship file. Suppose I keep all the tables in one folder related to that specific database. These 3 are different. Suppose a customer account and some transaction file is there.
Right. In that case, we can create the three tables, right? Always. That option is always
Yes,
there.
sir. We have 3 tables. So, but we can't keep the data related to all the 3 tables in one folder. That's what I'm saying.
Correct. You cannot keep like that. I mean, HDFS, like
Ah,
obviously, like HDFS, it's not file based. File name has no meaning in HDFS at all. Okay, it's all location. But why I'm saying that one file name does not have any meaning at all, because there may be so many cases uh, where you would end up having the same file name, but the data would be different.
yes, that is also possible from heterogeneous systems if you are getting the information. That is possible.
Yes, and also whenever you are running a MapReduce job or even the Spark job and all these things, so these jobs would always generate with the same file name as a result.
Yes, yes.
Okay, so that is also one thing. So that is the reason people they don't see that like what is the file name exactly. They don't define anything on the file name
No,
here.
then the thing is they should
But
not confuse with the relational model. Generally, if it is relational model, your database consists of all heterogeneous tables data at one location. But here, based on this application, maybe you will have multiple files because this is in key value pair based and you have to merge them and get the information. Then such case you have to use in this way.
Yes. I will show you another one. Okay, like
Okay, sir.
so. Maybe
Thank you for the.
sure, sir. Maybe maybe this example will make you much more clear. Let's
Okay, sir.
target this one. So I do
Okay.
have an ID. Okay, like and the name. And here I'm showing as a pipe separator of our data. And then I do have city and what else that I could do? Maybe a GPA. Okay, like this. Okay, like suppose there is another student. It has it has only two entries. Okay, maybe I don't need to require to give this one as well. Okay, like so 456 is another ID where for Sam I do have city as well. Probably this is another kind of a, maybe you could say like it's a different elements on the same file, or whether it can be same file or different files. That is also possible. So let's do one thing. Let's make it as a different files. Okay, like to make it much more clear. This is one file. We got that. And file tab 2.txt. This is another one. Let's remove this one too. Now I'm going to create a directory here, class data on my fifth table, right? Using this asterisk, I can put all the files at once. So if you want, you could see that. Okay, right? So I have three files here on the same directory. Now we'll go ahead and then create a table. Only thing is fields terminated by here, uh, pipe, and then location. Now you try select name, for example, from here, my fifth tab. So this HDFS location has three files and of course three entries. So now you could see that three entries there. For example, city. Okay, like so city is not there for for some of the students here. Okay, like let's try that. The city is not exist for one of the students, so that will be it will be just like simply null. And also remember there are four columns, all right? ID, name, and city, and also I given as GPA, okay, like for one of the students. And I define the high table only for three columns. So even if I say select star from my fifth tab, you would be seeing that. So it's saying that 123 Jack Delhi. But if you see the contents of the file, I have 123 Jack Delhi and then 4.0 as well. So this 4.0, they're all the extra columns. Data data file might have that extra columns information, but if you don't define in your high table, you won't be accessing that one. But the file may have. That is a that is a beauty. In the traditional world, these kind of things are not feasible at all. Okay, so that is advantage exactly. Like lot of advantage. Okay, like not only small thing. Okay, like when you're handling about very different varieties or different file structures. Okay, like different things, and if you want to define a table, even though it's a the text file you agreed upon like having a 20 columns, but there may be cases that where you get like 22, 23, 25 like that. So that kind of a scenarios, it will not fail your high table definition or your SQL queries, but you won't be accessing that extra information there. But if you define another high table, you could able to access that. For example, okay, like the same thing, right? And I added what do you call it, like GPA, um, maybe let's say float. This is a 6 tab, and in the same location. Okay, like now you try select a GPA from my 6 tab. Remember, I did not touch any of the data at all. So data is still there. I'm just playing with my definitions to access that, to access a particular data element. That's how we could do that. Is it clear? Or any questions on this until here? This is very important to understand the location. If you can't understand this location concept in the Hive, okay, like so you can't understand even the rest of the things basically. Like this is the first very important location thing. And the next I'll show you, okay, like another interesting thing here. There are two tables pointed to class data 5 tab, right? We know that there is a 6 tab and the 5th tab. They both point to the same location. Okay. How to know that where this location has been pointed? There will be a command called show create table, and then you can give your table name. This will give you entire the definition. How did you created that one? Okay, like suppose if you have any default parameters and everything also, like you could see that one. So here I given the create table, ID, name, city, row format, delimited fields terminated by this one, stored as whatever maybe the input format and all this stuff. Okay, like and what is the location? Here the location also you could see that starting from HDFS and then the host name and the port number and then class data item like that. This is the prefix, standard prefix for your HDFS cluster. You could ignore it. Even if you ignore that one, like Hive will automatically add that prefix to your location data exactly. And some of the properties, like how many files are there in that location, what is the size of the bytes, and what is the last timestamp that it's been touched. Okay, so this kind of a details that it will provide. But our main interest is that okay, like we need to see that what is the location here. Class data 5 tab for 5th tab. Let's try to get the definition even for 6th tab. Okay. So one of the beautiful feature of Hive is that you could point multiple tables. You could define multiple tables pointing to the same location. That is one of the very beautiful features of the Hive. But this feature will also bring a small problem with this feature. So here we could define multiple tables pointing to the same location. So what would happen if I drop one of these table? Of course, I could create a table, I could drop the table as well. It's as good as the, what do you call it? Delete the table or drop the table. I mean, especially in the SQL world, they'll call it drop the table. So what I will do is, let me go and drop my sixth table. The syntax is very simple. Instead of create, you could just give drop space table my sixth tab. So I drop the sixth table now. Fifth table, sixth table, they both point into the same location, and then we dropped one of the table and sixth table that we dropped. So let's try to query from fifth table now. It's empty. So what happened to the data? We did not drop anything related to the fifth table at all. We did not touch fifth table at all. We just dropped the sixth table. So one of the problem this feature has brought us is, if you drop a table, it will delete the contents and also the directory which is pointing to. So if I go to HDFS, of course we could run the same command. It will say that the command, I mean the directory does not exist. So whenever you drop a table, it will delete the corresponding directory. So if there are any more tables which are defined pointing to the same location, then you would not able to access the data using the tables. That is one of the problem. Hive provides to define multiple tables pointing to the same location, but if you drop one of the table, then other tables also will become useless. You would not be able to access the data using the tables. So to avoid that problem, Hive has another feature called create X. Whenever you are creating a table, you define as external table. If it is an external table, then even though you drop the table, it will just delete the definition, but it will keep the data in HDFS. It will not touch the data in HDFS. Because we don't know exactly, like there may be some other person who has created a table pointing to this location, and by accidentally or intentionally or whatever, if you drop the table, it will delete the data in HDFS, so which is very, very dangerous. I define my table pointing to some location, and I've done my all my coding and all my project and everything. So we have been working on all the stuff. So there is a new guy joined in the team, and then he defined his own table pointing to the same location. Maybe he thought like, okay, I use this table and then I don't need it anymore, and then he dropped the table. It will drop this table, but it will also delete the data pointing to the HDFS. So the guy who has done all the coding work and everything by pointing to the same location, so his work will become useless. So that is one of the problem that people would face in Hive. It's a very commonly they face that problem. So to avoid this problem or to avoid this issue, people would define external tables. So whenever you add a keyword called external table, um, what I would do is I will take the same definition, okay, like create external table. Instead of create table, you just add a keyword called external table. By the way, again, we need to copy the data into that one. Okay. Now you could give a try, select a star from my fifth tab. I got my data back because we uh, regenerated the data in HDFS, and also you can give a try my sixth tab. Maybe select GPA. So that's what we are interested in now. Or let's put star. Okay. Okay. Now my fifth tab and sixth tab both are working. And what I would do is I drop the table, drop table, my sixth tab. Now I define um, sixth tab as external. So you could also see that, like let's say show create table my sixth tab. So here it will show you that create external table as highlighted. So now let's try to drop this external table. I dropped the sixth table. Let's try to query that one. So it says that table not found, which is very good. And let's try my fifth tab now. I got my data. So that is the reason it's always advisable to define external table, okay, to avoid the data loss. This is very common interview question, especially in the Hive. So what is the difference between internal or external table? Some people would say internal as managed table. Okay, like so what is the difference between managed table and external table, or internal versus external table? This is the difference. So they will ask us what is the recommended method to define your high table. So you say always external. Clear? Internal versus external.
Sir,
That is
that
very, very
how is
useful
it
concept in
organized,
this
sir? If you,
interview question. Sorry, Murthy garu, one
sir,
more time.
how is it organized now? If I say external table, how is it represented? Because when
It will,
you said external and when you dropped, only that is gone.
the only definition will be gone, not the data,
I
not the
see.
HDFS folder.
Folder will not be deleted. Okay.
Folder will not be.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. If it is a clear, then I want to show you something. Okay, like so. Um, I don't want to leave the um, create a create table, but let's try to create little bit more complex data. Um, maybe where is this? Employee TDL. Okay. Um, maybe I want to put here. Let's try to another one. Remember, all statements of Hive would end with semicolon. That is very, very important. Okay, like so. It's just like SQL. Any SQL statement should end with semicolon, right? Similarly, even for Hive as well. So all the Hive statements, you need to terminate them with semicolon. Now we will see that complex data types in Hive. That is one thing. Another one is um, what else that I could show you here, like how we would combine a multiple data types in a single thing, in a single file. Okay, let's try to target to create that one. Of course, create external table. Also, you could also mention about if not exists. So this class, what it does is, if this table exists, it will not going to create it again, because if you try to create the same table which exists, it will throw an error. So to avoid that errors, people would use this class by saying that create external table if not exist. That means you just try to create the table if this table does not exist, or else we could just leave that one. Maybe before instead of create here, what I will do is, okay, I will show you another way, okay, to run your high queries. CD cd class local. Okay, let's go ahead and create a employee dot HQL or Hive, any extension that you could use it. So I will write my script here. Create external table. I'll show you what is the advantage of if not exist as well. The table name called employee. Let's create in class database. Okay, uh, employee. Uh, he has, or each employee will have a name. Okay, and let's say salary will be in the float. Um, I'm going to introduce a complex data types or derived data types as well. People would use it. Subordinates. So each employee might have some kind of a subordinates, or subordinates are the one who are reporting to this employee, right? So when I say like a given employee may have zero subordinates or may have more than one subordinate. Okay, if he's a manager, typically there will be 8 to 10 people or 8 to 20 people would be reporting to him. So I would like to see how many employees are really reporting to him. So subordinates will be typically, if you think about which data structures we could use it, it's just like an array of employees, basically array of string, right? So he, I had an employee, he's a manager, and there are 8 people reporting to him. So these subordinates will have the names of all the 8 people who are reporting to that guy. So subordinates will this type of array. Next one is each employee, depending on their level, okay, like so your tax deductions or whatever it is, okay, that percentage may vary, right? So this one, I will define it as a map type. So I would say like a string and then about the float. Okay, like so depending on the employee, each employee, um, um, if his salary range is in between, okay, like so he has what do you call it, income tax about 35%, okay, like state tax, something you need to pay more, or whatever it is, okay, like sales tax, GST, and all kind of things. So that reductions type of taxes would be the same. So it will be a map type. So it has a key value pairs. So like let's say, uh, I don't know. I mean, it's in US it's very easy. In US we do have 3 types of taxes like federal tax, state tax, county tax, like that. So it's like that. So different types of taxes and their rates. And next one is address. This is very easily to understand. You could understand that address have. Let's see what kind of elements that we may have. So I have a street name. So street is of type string. That's good. And I may have city. So which is also of type string. State. That is also about string. Next one is pin code. This will make it as an integer. Right? I mean, just to, I think it's already 7 digits, I guess. So you could define as a integer here. Everything is all this thing together. Okay, like will come as struct. This is another data structure because you may have a street, cities, state, and pin code. Some employees they may not have zip code. Some employees they may not have city at all. Some people they may not have street name, but they do have city, state, pin code like that. So any of these elements may exist, or all the elements may exist as well. So this is one kind of a structure. And if you have all these different combinations, okay, right? It has an array, it has a map, it has a struct, it has a float, string, int, everything. I try to put all the things that I could think of. Okay. Let's define this table row format. Of course, it's delimited. Okay, like and then uh, fields terminated by, which is very important. And I could say like a comma. Here the fields means name, salary, subordinates, deductions, and address. So each row in a table and each column here is separated by the comma. And next thing is just by specifying with the fields, it will not be enough to access all the individual elements. Okay. So here there is a map type. So here you need to specify how these key value pairs are terminated. Okay. uh, sorry, before that one, subordinates array. So array is a collection. So elements of array, how you will define that? So for that, it will call it as a collection items terminated by, let's take some character here. Okay, let's say the 5. Remember, collection items like array, even the elements in a structure, they are also collection items only. Next one is in the map type, how this key value pair has been separated, right? Has been like, so here map keys terminated by cap, okay? And you could also specify how the each row is terminated, okay? Like, so each row in a file, typically they will call it as a lines, they will not call it as a rows, but it's the same terminology. Each line is terminated by slash n. Typically each row corresponds to a row, each line in a file corresponds to a row in a table. So you could say line is terminated by slash n. Slash n means end of line. And everything is same, so I could define it as a stored as text file. Even if you don't define stored as text file, defaultly it is a text file only. So otherwise there is a, even you could specify that the entire data is in text format. So this is how you could define a table. Now I have given all this syntax in a given file. Um, you could pass this file to the hive like this, hive minus f, and then a file name. So this will be executed in the hive. You need not go to hive prompt and then execute everything. You could put it in a file and then you could pass it to the hive. So just like hive minus f and then employee.html. That's it. If there are no errors and everything, if you see the OK prompt, that means it executed perfectly. Okay. Now, um, remember, I have not given any location. Where is the location here? I have not given any location. Even our first table, second table, I have not given any location. So Hive defaultly will consider some location in HDFS. Remember where the Hive will store the data? In HDFS. So whatever the table that you define in the Hive, that your data would be in HDFS only. Whether you give the location or not, if you're not given any location, Hive has some default location path, and inside that location, it will create a directory with your table name, and then it will store all the data inside that one. It will load the data or anything like that. So as of now, uh, there are a couple of ways how to see that location. Okay, like you go to the Hive. So go to that show create table class dot employee. This will give you the complete structure of the table, and here you could see the location. The default location is apps, hive, warehouse, class.db, and then employee. So this is the HDFS location. You could do one thing. I mean, you could also copy the files directly into this folder. Okay, like that is also one way. Okay, like that would work. Or else, um, I got a question from Jane to Vijayanagaram by saying that is it possible to insert that data into the table? Of course, it's possible. I got another question. Can we change the location of the table after it got created? Very good question. No, you cannot change the location. But if you want to change the location, there is a other way. Okay, like so, you could define a table like create table like old table and then give the new location. That's it. So when you will change the location, you want to have the same structure, but pointing to the different location of HDFS, right? So what you do is you define the table, create table like old table, location, new location. So that will create a new table with a new location. Uh, about that. Not sure where did I get that. Okay. Is it sent? Okay. Oh, it is an outbox. Okay. It's going to be nice. I don't have this data. 1 second. I don't want to make any mistakes. Oh gosh. Um, uh, maybe let me try to create the file itself. I need to type it everything. That's why I'm trying to avoid that. Okay, let's try to create a file. Anyway, I'm not going to get from the file. Employee text. It's already 12 o'clock. Okay. Let's say John Doe, and his salary is like 100K. Uh, and this is the float value that we're given. So let's put like more meaningful. And the next one is he got a subordinate list. Mary Smith, uh, Todd Jones. Let's put like something like this. And you have federal. This is the salary deductions. I have a taxes, and then this is the cap 0.25, and this one state taxes cap 0.18 for this guy, and let's say insurance 75, whatever it is. And then next one is his address, like 100 Washington Avenue, and for example, let's go to Washington Avenue. Uh, this is the street name, and then he has a city called Chicago, Illinois 60560, like this. This is one employee, and he has another one called like Mary Smith. This is one employee, so he are like 80,000, for example, and he has a subordinate called Wilking. He has only one. Let's assume only he has a and federal taxes and insurance. His address is 250 Madison Street. Oh, sorry. Yeah, Madison Street. Um, Probably if you want it, like you could change these are the values. So everyone will have like these two kind of a taxes, something like that. You change some fields. Next one is Todd Jones, and his salary is just 75,000. Let's put something here. And he don't have any subordinates at all. And then he has the taxes of the structure, and address is 350 Chicago Avenue, Madison, Wisconsin, 53796. Okay. And is there anyone? There is one more guy. It's called like Bill King. So 60 is his salary, and even he don't have any of the subordinates. Let's assume we have the taxes here, and his address is 453. Yeah, there is only one should be there. 452. Um, okay. So this is my employee time. Uh, Maybe I'll show you both the files together. Cat employee data and cat employee HQL. So here you could see this one. He has the name, okay, like name I given and salary. Because the only reason is in the real time scenarios, you will get the first file and then after that you will end up creating a table definition. Okay, like just to make easy of myself to save the time. Okay, like I just created a definition and then after that I created the file according to that one. So here's the name, here they had a salary and they got the list of the subordinates. Here, for example, John Doe has two subordinates, Mary Smith and Todd Jones. Here, these both are the collection items. So collection items are separated by the pipe symbol here. And the next one is federal taxes, state taxes, and insurance. These are the key in the map. The map type, which is called like a salary deductions, and it has a string and then floor. So this key value pair is terminated by the cap symbol. That's why the federal taxes and cap, and then the percentage, state taxes, cap, and then some percentage 0.18 because the value is float here. So I just try to give it in the decimals. And the next one is address. Address has a structure, street, city, state, and then pin code. Uh, Again, these individual elements are called like a collection elements itself. So they are being separated by the pipe symbol here. So that's why 100 Washington Avenue is the street name, and Chicago is the city. IL is the state name. 60560 is the pin code. I'm sorry, I just given as a US addresses so that it will be easy to me. Okay, like now we know the location wherever it is. Okay, like this is the location of the table where highway has been created. So what we'll do is HDFS, DFS, upload employee data file to this location. Okay. Oh, maybe I would have shown you differently. Uh, okay, let's do one thing. I Because Vijayanagar people they ask me some question like how to insert the data into a table. Because we already saw this one how to copy the data into HDFS. Okay, like and then automatically it will get reflected into the Hive. But that is not only the way. Uh, let's remove whatever it is. Okay, that's good. This is not only the way. There is other way as well. So it's called like load command. Load data in path and then you can give the location exactly. I'm not sure wherever it is. So just go to home, HDFS, class local, and the file name is called like employee.next file. Load data in path, and okay, uh, table name, I guess. 1 second. There is an insert statement as well. You could also use the insert statements. Okay, like, but if you have a complex data types, it's very hard to define in insert statement in Hive. You can really, but there is a lot of syntax has been involved on that one. And so load data in path into table class dot employee. That's it. Oh, defaultly, if you don't specify anything, so Hive will treat it as a HDFS path. So if it is a local, you need to specify that local load data local in path, like that. So that is how you load the data into the table. I mean, one way is you could use the HDFS put command, and then you can copy the file into the location where it's pointing to. Suppose if you don't know the location and you don't want to use the same way, and this is another way how you load the data into a Hive table. So load data in path or local in path. If this path is a local, I mean local path like your operating system level path, use is a local. Otherwise, you can also give the if you don't give any local keyword, it will be treated as a HDFS. So if your data is in HDFS, you could also use local load data and then HDFS location, and then whatever the data is there in the HDFS location, it will be loaded into Hive table. Okay, that's good. Let's try. I don't think we tried the count star. Okay, let's try from there, and then let me show you all the combinations of this employee table, and then we can close today. Okay, so now it is showing that like there are only 4 records. First, you try that select name from employee. I'll show you like you could try different combinations here. Okay, so just name. Okay, I got that one, and the next one is uh, queries queries using complex data types. That's what really my intention. Okay, like so to um, what do you say like which one that we could give a try. Salary, since it is a direct column that you could lift from the salary name, we already saw that one name salary, and the next one is the deductions. So what we could do is select um, deductions. So this is a map type, right? And you could access the values like this from employee. Okay, like so deductions of which ones? So I could say federal taxes. So it will give you, for example, select name and then comma deductions of federal taxes from employee. Okay, I need to give the database name as well. So class dot employee. Okay, something is wrong. Uh, Federal taxes. Okay, there is a like that. So I got a uh, federal tax deductions for all the employees. Similarly, I can also get the state taxes. I can also get the insurance. There is another one called like insurance here. Let's try that. So these kind of a things, it's not possible in your traditional databases. I cannot define the data types like this. Okay, there is already a small typo here in the spelling. Like this. So that is how you could access a particular value from a map key. That is about the deductions. The, after deductions, we have the subordinates, right? So um, one thing is we would like to see all the employees who has at least um, at least one subordinate. So we know that subordinates is a array type. So what we could do is where size of subordinates is greater than 0. We got everyone? Maybe 1. Okay, that's good. So where the size of subordinates is 1. So that means I would like to see all the employees who has at least a employee reporting to them. So in our list, we have only the John Doe who has some subordinates list. So here we could use size of subordinates like that. And another one is if you want to see all um, all the subordinates, that is also quite feasible. Select, I think it will display in some format as a list. Subordinate from class dot employee like this. So it will give you the list completely. Select name, that one. So the John Doe has more than one and Mary Smith has only one. So these are the subordinates list for name and subordinates list for each employee. So that is about this one. Next one is I would like to uh, get all the employees, select name from class dot employee where um, address dot city or like let's say state. Okay, like state is Illinois. So there are two employees who is staying in the state Illinois like this. So address dot state. If it is a structure variable, you could access the individual element by using the dot syntax. Okay. Or else if you want to see the complete list of all the deductions, you could say like select deductions from class dot employee where everything, maybe where name equal to, you could say like John Doe. So it will give you the list. Federal taxes of 2.25, state taxes at 0.18, insurance as 0.75 like that. So if you want, it will get the complete map, or if you want individual elements also, you could try to access that. So that is another very nice features of the Hive. So today we saw that internal versus managed versus external table differences, and also we saw the complex data types, how to define and uh, uh, how to get the data for this different data elements, and how you define that, and how I will interpret that, and how to access individual elements of these complex data types. Any questions so far? From the Hive round. Again, you go to the Hive and then you will get that. So I told you that like Hive will store all the metadata information in a RDBMS like MySQL or Oracle. So here my environment has been configured uh, to store all my metadata into a MySQL database. Okay. Uh, it's denied with root only, right? I thought I would use this. Using password, no. Oh, fantastic. Okay, so here, if you go to, oh, sorry, there is a database called Hive. So these are the columns. I'm sorry, these are the different tables where your column definitions would be, where your all table definitions will be stored. So for example, TBLS. Okay, like so here I can show you quickly. If you go there and then you have that, what are the tables that we created today? You could see that everything. Of course, you do have the different tables as well. So here, typically, you could concentrate on this one because we have used the HDFS user. So my first table, my second table, my third table, my fourth table, my fifth table, and also the employee table. And here you could see that managed tables, which are the managed tables, and my fifth table is managed. And sixth table is the external that one, but we dropped the table, right? That's why we did not see this one here. And employees, of course, I created as external table. You could also see this one. And there is a lot of other things where you could see the individual parameters, like individual column names and their parameters and something like that. I think SDS is one. Uh, Columns V2 is the where you would see that individual columns of all the tables, like ID, name, city name, and then name, address, deductions, name, salary, subordinates. You see that one. So you need to join with this table ID. Okay, like then 18 is the table ID of our employee table here. Then you will get that everything. This is how I will store your metadata in a RDBMS. Okay, as I will not store anything at all. Okay, like so. Got a question. How to set the Hive Metastore configuration, sir? Very good question. How to set Hive Metastore configuration? Of course, we need to go to the Ambari. I given just a small overview, right, on the Ambari thing. So we'll go to the Hive configuration. Okay, like so, and go to the config, and here there will be an option how to set your Hive Metastore. This one. Hi Metastore. Okay, like we're setting a new MySQL database, and the database name is called like Hive, username is called like root, and what is the password and everything. Hive here, Hive database type is MySQL. You could also set to the Oracle, you could also set to the PostgreSQL, anything that you could set. But people don't change it once it's configured. Okay, like but if you want to change to something else from MySQL to Oracle, then you need to migrate all the data from MySQL to Oracle. Of course, this Hortonworks, this vendor has some tools how to migrate the existing data from one database to another database. So that will help you out. This is how you will configure your. These are the options: MySQL, MariaDB, Postgres, Oracle, SQL Anywhere. So one of these things you could select as your Hive Metastore. Okay, is it clear? Good. Uh, yes. How to set the Hive Metastore configurations are in case of Apache Hadoop. Apache Hadoop. Okay, okay, I've shown you there's a Hortonworks cluster here. Okay, like but anything, even if it Horton works, even if it is a uh, open source version, I'll show you for anything exactly like so. There will be a etc hive and then config. There will be a configuration file called hive site.xml. Okay, like so. For each server, for each component of Hadoop, okay, like there will be a corresponding or corresponding configuration file. For Hive, it's called like hive site.xml. Hive hyphen site.xml. So here in this one, you could search very easily. Um, these two options. Connection driver name, okay, like so javax jdo option dot connection driver name and then the connection url, okay, like so you need to change here. Here jdbc mysql and where the mysql has been located, and there is other thing also like you need to give as a hive metastore user password, how to maybe you could search for metastore, you would get all the parameters on this. Yeah, Hive Metastore client socket port. There will be username onwards. There will be a Metastore related information, configuration parameters, and you need to change that one. Like 4 or 5, you need to change these parameters. Then there's something called like a database name as well. So Hive site.xml is the key, is the keyword. So you need to check that one. You need to check the configuration and change it. Uh, any more questions? But if you're already with one of these vendor distributions, okay, like so, no one would directly update the configuration file. Okay, like so, they use these tools because here in the configuration file, it's very hard to find out the particular parameters. But if you mess up, if you overwrite any of the existing ones or something like that, like it's very dangerous. So that is the reason they build this GUIs only to avoid that kind of a situations. 5 6 years back, people used to update the configuration file directly, but nowadays like everyone is going with some of the vendors because there is a lot of advantage, okay, like going with the vendor, either it's Hortonworks or Cloudera or Mapper or anyone, okay, like so it's always advisable to go with these vendors. Otherwise it will be very nightmare, okay, like so to manage your Hadoop cluster. Good. um, we will continue our learning Hive. Okay, like probably one more class. I will take one more class and I will explain the remaining things related to the Hive. Um, create table is really important. Okay, like so. Um, and the next one is we'll try to create a partitions, bucketing. Okay, like a sort by, order by, a couple of things like that. Okay, we'll see that one. We'll try to run the queries, and then we'll see that one how it does. Otherwise, it's very simple. Probably I will take one more class Monday and maybe Thursday or the next week. I can close the Hive, and then we'll move back to um, Java map reduce part. Any further questions? Uh, Again, there is no class on this Saturday. Okay, like I'm sorry, I did not realize that. Okay, like so this your Saturday morning is my Friday evening here, and that Friday is there is a festival, and it's a lot of things on my plate on that day. I don't think I could take the class on Saturday as promised, but instead I will take the third week of August 19th. August 19th